What up guys, Shadow Lord here, and today I'm going to be just quickly showing you how I get the best results from Fraps. This is not me telling you how to set up your Fraps, this is me telling you how I set up my Fraps and how I get the best settings from it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is the General tab. If you're wondering why there's a box here where my cursor is, you won't be able to see because there's a box in the way, but you can see it now. It's just because that is my personal details that I do not want you seeing. For obvious reasons. Anyway, for these boxes down here, you're going to tick the first three, which basically just means that Fraps will always start minimized, it will always start when you start up your computer, and Fraps will always stay on the top. This is basically just personal. I prefer this because then when something decides it wants to open, and I'm doing something in Fraps, it won't change it. It won't just go, haha, you thought you were doing this, and now I'm going to open on your face. Anyway, these two down here, I don't really like having that. Basically, it just puts it into your background files, which are down here on the bottom of your computer. Basically, just shows you down by your clock and all that. And I don't normally have this option ticked. The only reason why I have this option ticked is because I need to fill my desktop so I can do this video. But basically, what it means is that when you're playing a game, if you use this function to record your game, when you go on to, say, like your documents, for example, it will. So this is what I mean about Bratz being on top. But it will basically open your documents, and it will show your documents. But if I didn't have that function ticked, it would not show the documents. It would just show my mouse moving. Anyway guys, moving on to the FPS tab. If you are into benchmarking and you want to see how many frames you're getting over, say, the amount of like 60 seconds, 30 seconds in the first 30 seconds of opening a game, for example, so on. I do use this sometimes, like when I'm starting a new game and I want to see where my frames get lost. You can change where it saves it here just by clicking on it and then going into where you want to save it. So computer, new volume, which is my internal hard drive, which I record everything onto. Now I'd make a folder in here that would be called benchmarking, for example. Benchmarking hotkey, this is basically just the same way you're going to do movie and screenshots. It's basically just where you click here and then you hit, say, I don't know, F9. So now whenever I hit F9, it will start benchmarking. I'm just going to disable that just because I forget to disable it after this video. Basically, this is what you will benchmark. This is how many seconds you will stop benchmarking after. I just leave this on 0, just in case for some reason Fraps decides it wants to start benchmarking, and I don't want it to. Let's just jump down here quick. This overlay update will basically only update the FPS frames that you're getting every second instead of whenever they change. This little square is where the FPS shows. I just leave mine on default, which is here, just because I don't really care where my FPS is shown, because I naturally look up there when I want to see it. Yeah, and then say I wanted to look in this folder to see it by benchmarking, I would open this up, and my Fraps is going to get in the way again. So let's quickly untick this setting, and then we can own this on top. And yeah, so it basically I just basically clicked on view and it shows me where I saved my benchmarking. As you can see, this folder is empty because I don't do benchmarking. Anyway, let's move on to the movie tab. The movie tab basically tells you where I save it. There's two ways you can change it. You can either click on here and then it will open this window, and then you can change where you save it. I don't want to change it because this is where I'm saving this video, so I know where it is. And also you can click change here and it'll do the same thing. If you want to view where you are, instead of having to go into file and then find it in computer, you can basically just find it by clicking view here in Fraps, and it will show you exactly where you're filming. The reason why these are blank is because these are the ones I am filming now. Moving on to the hotkeys, basically it's the same as benchmarking. You hit this and then you hit the button that you want. I'm not going to change it because I'll probably know me, forget to change it back, and then realise why I can't record. But basically I would just make this a button as far away from everything else that you use on your keyboard as far as you can, just because otherwise you'll hit it by accident and then you'll fill up your hard drive really fast and then your hard drive will burn out and so on. Moving on to the video capture settings, basically this should be on full size. never really use half size. You get really weird videos and it looks odd. There's black bars and it's horrible. Moving on to the 60 frames per second. Basically, what I like to do with this, and I found the best results to do this, is you go into whatever kind of graphics card you have. You go into the control panel for your resolution, refresh rate, and you make sure the refresh rate is on either 60 or whatever your refresh rate is on. Basically, you change in Fraps to be the same. So my refresh rate is on 60, so I film at 60. Loop buffer is basically just how far ahead Fraps is ready to record. So as I'm talking, Fraps is buffering 30 seconds of film ahead of what I'm saying. So it will always be ready 30 seconds. You can change this to 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, so on, anything. But I prefer to leave it just on 30, just because otherwise you could get problems with it, like not being able to catch up fast enough, and then you're losing footage, and then footage getting corrupted and so on. And this little button here I do like to leave ticked, just because it splits up the movie into 4 gig increments. So instead of having one large, like say film for an hour, instead of having some one large file that could get corrupted, say my game crashes and I lose it, I would lose everything in from that hour. If I have this, I only lose the whatever that 4 gig file was at that point. So that's very useful. Here we basically just have, this is all the sounds that come out from your speakers. So whether that, say you're filming Skype and you want to record Skype in an arena gameplay, for example, you would have this ticked and this ticked, because if you only have this one ticked, you will only hear your partners or partner speaking in the Skype call, because they're coming out from your speakers. And if you do not record your own mic, they'll be able to hear you, but you will not be able to hear yourself in the recording back. Basically, this is your default microphone for your computer. You can change this by going into control panel, and if you really want, I can show you how to do that in a separate video. Please feel free to write that in the comments below if you would like me to show you how to set defaults on sound outputs and microphone inputs. I'm sure there's some other tutorials on YouTube that you can just type in, and also it's pretty easy to do. But anyway, moving on to these little settings down here. Hiding mouse cursor during recording basically means that you will not be able to see my mouse cursor. I have already filmed this episode once before. I had this ticked, so basically you could not see where I was pointing with the mouse. If you want people to see where you are pointing with the mouse, you have to have this unticked. If you do not, they will not see your mouse cursor. Simple as that. Lock frames whilst recording. This does not mean it will stay at 60 frames, because that is physically impossible unless your computer can do that. And then, well done you, because you have a good computer. But basically what it means is it will try and stay at a certain number of frames at that point. This is basically for things like recording model viewer and 3D animation and things like that. Things that are gonna, like, there's a lot more movement in a shorter space of time than something that isn't. So, moving on to screenshots. Basically, I do not really use this function, but if you would want to use this function, you would do the same to change where it saves it as you did with video and benchmarking. You would do the same here, hit and so on. This is what file type it will save it in. I would recommend PNG, just because it is the best quality that you can actually have. I'm not going to delve into these because I don't understand them, because I don't use this, so I wouldn't know. But the view button basically shows you wherever you save them and opens the folder. So basically this shows how much I use Fraps' screenshot tool, because there's only 4. Anyway guys, remember, if you did enjoy this video, please help with a like and a favourite. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about what could be happening on the channel. There would be definitely a lot more of other games coming out. Definitely more WoW. There will be Photoshop tutorials, Vegas tutorials, maybe another Fraps tutorial if I can find a way to say anything more about Fraps. But if I was going to recommend a recording program to use if you're wanting to do YouTube or film anything, for screen capture would definitely be Fraps, 100%, because the quality it records in is amazing, and it doesn't lag out your computer enough to, but it can if you don't have a decent computer. But the one thing that is one of the most important things about Fraps is if you have a desktop computer like me, get 2 internal hard drives. You need them. You need one really big, like I have a 1.5 terabyte one, a Sergey, I think it's Sergey 1.5 terabyte hard drive, and that's the one I record onto. That's the one that's called F in this computer at the moment. Basically, all that stops from happening is Fraps lagging out, because if you try and record on the same hard drive as you're running the game off, it puts a large amount of strain on your computer, and basically your computer will not like it. And if you try and do it onto an external hard drive, because you have to run it through a USB, the maximum amount of frames you will probably get is anywhere between 5 and 10. So it's not very good. So that's why you need to get 2 hard drives, so you can record on one and play on the other. And the reason why they're fast is because they're connected through SCART cables, which are basically the cables that go from your motherboard to your hard drive and tell your motherboard or your processor what information is on that hard drive, and it's a lot quicker than a USB port. Anyway guys, remember, if you did enjoy this video, please hit it with a like and a favourite, and if you do not want to miss daily videos added from me, please feel free to hit that subscribe button that will be on screen either now or in a couple of seconds. Anyway guys,